Hello, everybody. This is Catholic Dad, episode number 343, The End of America. Why am I saying such things? Well, anyway, I don't know if you've heard what's going on the last week. Really, you got to be hiding under a rock if you haven't heard, but the coronavirus is rampaging the planet. So they say. I don't know if that's true or not. We don't have a case in my town yet. Probably sometime this week or next week we'll have a case. We only have like two or three cases in my entire state, but apparently where it's bad, it's really bad. And there's a family from New Jersey. They just announced lost four family members due to it. It was a large family like my own, and they lost four family members due to the coronavirus, which is a really big deal. And we should pray for people such as this. But why do I say the end of America? Because what they've instituted because of the coronavirus is nothing short of tyranny. It's nothing short of autocratic dictate. It's nothing short of just totalitarian rule. Essentially, through executive edict, both on the federal and state levels, without any legislative action, they've shut down restaurants and businesses, any place where people meet. Churches have been shut down, and it's almost like it's wartime. And a lot of people have been saying this is like a wartime action that is needed to save the world and save humanity against some huge monster pandemic. The problem is this. There's rule of law, and there's rules that say that the government can't do such things. Like Commerce Clause in the Constitution states that governments can't shut down legal contractual exchange of goods and services. You can't do that. And it doesn't make any carve-outs for wartime. It doesn't make any carve-outs for like pandemics and epidemics and things like that. In fact, Abraham Lincoln tried it, and the Supreme Court slapped him in the hand. Woodrow Wilson tried it through the Sedition Acts and Espionage Acts and jailing people, and eventually the Supreme Court let the people go. Like, you're not allowed to do such things. And, they're doing them again. The problem is this. If you have a rule of law when everybody's peaceful and consenting to the rule of law, and the government abides by the rights of the people, and the people abide by the authority of the government, and it all works well, and then you have a crisis, and then all of a sudden the government takes complete control and power of everything, and the people roll over and capitulate to the government. Okay, so this is a little bit of a crisis. It's a health crisis, and maybe people are doing their patriotic duty. The problem is, wise men are not always at the wheel of the ship of the United States of America. Sometimes tyrannical men get there. And if you roll over and give up all your rights because the state says so for the health and safety of the population, well, they're going to use that argument time and time and time again. And there's no stopping it from here on out if we allow this to happen. If people don't speak out, if Supreme Court doesn't act in the future to essentially say the government's not allowed to usurp powers the way it has. And so here's, we're in the coronavirus epidemic. Nobody knows how this is going to play out yet. But let's just say it plays out where it's bad, right? And let's just say, I don't know, 2, 3, 400,000 people die in America. It's possible. Then what happens when the coronavirus pops up next year? Like, has anybody thought about that? Are they going to shut this system down yet again? Are they going to halt 20 to 30% of all commerce in the United States of America? Yet again. What happens when there's a particularly bad flu season? Are they going to do that yet again? And I've seen a bunch of people stating that it wouldn't be so bad if China clamped down on it immediately. The problem is, how do you clamp down on something you don't know how virulent it is and how fatal it is? I mean, how do you do that without being tyrannical? It's impossible. And so I think probably we've passed the Rubicon in America that the government now has taught us, and we have capitulated, that it has complete command and control over all our rights. And that's not the way it should be. That rights come from God. They're endowed to us through the Creator, and the governments are instituted to protect those rights. And very quickly, when people get slightly afraid, and really, this is turning out to be a little bit worse than perhaps I would have thought, maybe not. I mean, there's still, 100 people dead in America. That's no big deal. I mean, once it hits like 40, 50, 60,000, I'll start saying, okay, this is a little worse than I thought it was. But we've crossed the Rubicon, and now the state is no longer the protector of our rights, but the arbiter of our rights. It's the one that gives us our rights, and that's not the way it should be. And if we are free people in times of peace, but when there's times of crisis, we abrogate our rights, that means that we are sheep and lamb lining up for slaughter, that really were not willing to defend our rights with any kind of meaningful resistance. And this is a problem, people. Now, this may not be the most patriotic video out there because everybody's still in crisis mode and they're worried about their neighbors. But the fact of the matter is, this is a warning to all of you. Like, in a time of crisis, I'm warning you, don't give up your rights. Don't surrender to the edicts of the state. You shouldn't. You should never do such things unless you do it voluntarily, right, through what you believe is in the vested interests of your community. And so if that's the case, yeah, hooray for America. But I suspect it's not. And I don't think in the future, now that precedent has been set, the rulers will be so wise, and there are going to be people that want to seize control of your rights and your liberties and take them and never give them back. I mean, I don't know if what you saw was going on in Virginia before this whole thing broke out. Virginia was trying to seize the weapons of its citizens. So the citizens rose up, banded together and actually protested what was occurring on the state level. Well, could you imagine if coronavirus was playing out at that point in time? Like, they wouldn't allow them freedom of assembly, right? They would take away that right and that liberty, and then they couldn't stand up and protest, the usurpations of their God-given rights of the right to bear arm. This is scary stuff, people. Well, and so can anything good come of this? And I think probably in terms of a Catholic Dad perspective, I think it can, because I think if we shut down the economic activity of America, and we destroy a generation of wealth, which it appears as if the government of the world is trying to do, and America is capitulating. Maybe America is actually working with the New World Order. I don't know. But if we destroy generational wealth, what can happen is that people might actually realize they need their families, that maybe they should have had more children, maybe they should have been nicer to their kids, maybe they actually should have formed their kids better and made them better citizens, because old people need young people and young people need old people, but they haven't really needed each other for, I don't know, say 50 years, ever since the big social safety net and the welfare state of America popped up. And so maybe this will reset the whole family button, like people actually realize they need each other. And then I've said before, and I'll say it again, 3 days of hunger is all it's going to need. We're going to need 3 days of hunger. If we actually cut off food supplies and people are hungry for 3 days, 100 years of progressive, militant, liberal, in-your-face ideology will go away overnight. Like progressive militant feminism, the transgenderism, the entire, like the homosexual movements and everything else. Suddenly they're not going to be in the forefront of what like society is pushing down everybody's throat. Everybody's going to realize, holy crap, we need food. Oh my goodness, we can't be worrying about like what the sexuality of our 5-year-old is, right? Like this stuff won't play to the top anymore. Like that will just go away if people get hungry for 3 days. And perhaps we can undo generations of a liberal stink. Like that's my great hope. Perhaps it will happen, perhaps it won't, I don't know. But let's just pray for passing of the pandemic quickly and quietly, and perhaps the global catastrophe of the monetary policy that's going to ensue won't be as bad as I suspect it's going to be. But anyway, this is Catholic Dad making you think about it. Please like or subscribe. You can't get the Mass anymore. They canceled all of them. So pray the daily rosary, live a sacramental life, and do start offering things up for the Lord for those who are suffering. And, you can't have Mass anymore until the church brings it back. But you can do holy hours, and you can actually start praying more and reading more. So God bless you all. Stay safe, everybody. Be smart. Don't be stupid. And just pray for our world. And we need it right now. God bless.